Good day, learners. How are you today? It's a new day, it's a new video lesson, and it's a new learning opportunity. Again, it's me, Sir Dons.
Sir Don's TV.
For today's learning competency, we have determining the ways a writer can elucidate on a concept by definition, explication, and clarification. Specifically, we are expected to define the term concept, identify the different types of concept, and list different examples and explanations for each type of concept. Concept, as defined by Merriam-Webster's dictionary, is an abstract or generic idea generalized from particular instances. It is therefore something that is developed in the mind. To be able to write a concept paper, one must think of a good concept first that will embody the whole paper. But to think of a concept will probably take a lot of time in the process of writing. So, to make it a little easier, this module will talk about the different types of concept. What are the types of concept? First, we have singular concepts. These are particular objects that serve as our units of study, analysis, or observation. For examples, people, places, things, social entities, and more. Second, we have class concepts. These are the collections of objects with similar attributes. These are used to categorize the units to be studied or analyzed. Examples, politicians, cities, universities, television networks, and so on. Third, we have relational concepts. These are mainly used in research because they make connections between units or entities. Example, frequency of newspaper reading is related to knowledge about current condition of economic status, and cheeses acquire their unique flavors from the place and length of storage. Fourth is variable concepts. They distinguish among objects within a class by some underlying attributes. Examples, competence of journalists, clarity of writing samples, and size of universities, and many more. And the fifth one is the mega concepts. These are general concepts that are also more abstract and complex in nature. Examples, democracy, hope, freedom, etc. Let's dig deeper. Let's define the three types of definition, identify the type of definition used in a text, and construct a modified Venn diagram that shows the similarities and differences of the three types of definition. When writers are trying to explain a certain concept, they rely mainly on definitions. All definitions attempt to explain or clarify a term or concept. This lesson will introduce you to the three different types of definitions: formal, informal, and extended definition. First, let's have formal definitions. A formal definition consists of three parts: the term, the parts of speech to which it belongs, such as noun or a verb, and all the traits or characteristics that are specific to that term. Formal definition example, term, freedom, parts of speech, noun. And the definition is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Second, informal definitions. In an informal definition, the writer uses known words or examples to explain an unknown term. These definitions may be synonyms or antonyms introduced by, or, in other words, or like. Informal definition example: freedom, also referred to as liberty or independence, is a state people reach when they are free to think and do whatever they please. Third is extended definition. Extended definitions generally have components of both informal and formal definitions. However, as the name suggests, the author uses a number of other techniques to define a word, concept, or phrase, such as etymology or word origin, anecdotes, listing and describing, etc. Example:
To our colonial forefathers, freedom meant having a voice in their government. Historical reference: the Revolutionary War was a last resort against an empire that continued to tax its colonists without the representation of the colonists in Parliament. Since the United States won the right to rule itself, our country has been referred to as the land of the free and the home of the brave. Example: true freedom means the ability to think, feel, say, or act however one chooses. Listing parts: it is a state where the bars of bondage do not exist. Negation: unfortunately, the widening gap between the haves and have-nots means that some are now shackled by their lack of education. Evoke the senses: shackled, Americans can attain real freedom when everyone has the same educational opportunities.
the example, listing parts, evoke senses, are written in enclosed parentheses to give you insights about the flow of your thoughts when writing an extended definition. You may check Google websites to further your understanding. Let's proceed with the part 3. We are tasked to identify concepts by explanation and develop concepts by explanation. Concepts can be explained through different modes or patterns. Aside from definition, other ways such as explication and explanation can be used to elucidate on a concept. A concept can be developed through explanation by providing examples or situations. Let's discuss ways to explain a concept. First, understand your readers. Understanding your readers must not be devalued, because the more you know what they know and what they also want to know, the more successful they comprehend the concept you are trying to explain. Second, define your terms. This is the most common way to explain a concept, to define it. But there are definitions that are difficult to understand in an instant. In this case, extended definition is more helpful. Do not ever assume that everyone knows a certain concept already just because you yourself know it. There are concepts that are deemed jargons to other people. Third, classify and divide the concept into chunks. Describe how your concept fits into a particular category or how it can be broken down into parts that can be described more easily. With this, your reader can see exactly how your concept fits to a bigger picture, how it can be divided, and how it's a key tool that will help you in explaining complex issues. Fourth, give an example. A step-by-step explanation of how a process works or how a concept is used in practice is a good way to make your readers understand a complex concept. This example is a concept through explanation.
How is cheese made? The general principles of making cheese from milk have changed little for nearly 3,000 years. The aroma, texture, and taste of cheese depend on slight variations of the process used to produce it, but all methods consist of 2 to 4 basic steps. The first step consists of the coagulation of the protein casein by adding acid or enzyme to the milk. Next, the liquid, called whey, is drained, leaving a semi-solid cheese, called curds, which may be eaten in this form or processed further. All soft or cream cheeses are of this type. Hard cheese undergoes 2 additional steps in the process. The semi-solid cheese is matured until it reaches the required level of acidity, at which time it is salted and pressed into forms or molds to give it the distinctive shape and size of a particular cheese. The final step is the aging process, during which the world's most famous.
Please try to reflect and answer the questions. What concept is being explained in this piece? What examples are given to explain the concept? And do these examples reflect realities in life? At this moment, we are tasked to identify concepts by explication or clarification, develop concepts by explication or clarification, and explain the importance of explication in developing a concept. What is explication? Explication is the process by which abstract concepts are systematically linked to observe variations in those concepts in the real world with appropriate methods. It employs a critical interpretation of a concept. It provides other perspective of a concept. It interprets another work by examining the concepts presented. Through a critical analysis of points raised in text, a richer clarification and explanation of the concept is given. This is accomplished by developing 2 definitions. First, conceptual definitions. Specify the meaning of the concepts to be studied. Verbal descriptions of the essential properties the researcher intends to be included within the concept's meaning because they belong to a field which could be different from you and the other. If you can't explain it further to them, you can't expect them to give you the response you wanted them to give either. Second is operational definitions. Procedures by which the concept is to be observed, measured, or manipulated. Many of each of these types of definitions are possible for a given concept. There are 2 sets of process explication. First is meaning analysis. Use logical procedures to define concepts with clearly connected conceptual and operational definitions. This takes place when designing research. Second is empirical analysis, the reverse process whereby you evaluate the concept based on empirical evidence. It takes place after, at least some, research has been carried out. Please take note that this video is only for reference. Samples are given and you may check Google to further and help your understanding. There are 4 points of this video lesson: the concept, the definition, the explanation, and the clarification. Activities will be in Google form, and the link is to be found on the description of this video lesson. Take your time to review this video lesson. Again, please don't forget to like the video, comment down your learning, subscribe, and hit the bell button to be updated with our course. Thank you and God bless everyone.